Everybody, this is my latest journal. It is huge, as you can see. It is called In Bloom, and it's about your garden, taking a walk through your garden. As all of, actually not all of my journals, but as many of my journals, this is an open mouth journal, so it is a piece of folk art, and it's meant to be interacted with. These things are wonderful for if you're having a wedding or a birthday party or an anniversary, or you want a guest book at the front of your house. Maybe it is a birthday party that you want your friends to sign, and they're unique ways that you can and your friends can engage with you by signing on a particular card or on a particular page, and then of course it becomes a keepsake for you. It's also just a piece of folk art that you can keep on your desk and look at because there's so many things to discover, but it's also a journal. You can use it. It is not your traditional journal that you're going to stick in your back pocket or throw the moleskin, or some of these digitals that people are creating and making journals out of into your backpack. This is not going to travel well. So this is certainly something that you want to use for special occasions or interact with it when you're in a place where you can sort of sit down and enjoy it. As always, there's tons of journaling space, journaling cards, little notebooks, so you can actually journal in it, but it is meant to be interacted with, and like life, it might be challenging sometimes. I use vintage and purchased, found, and bought materials, and it's everything, lace, ribbon, as I mentioned, some is vintage, some is new, metal, trinkets, charms, leaves, flowers, fabrics, sari, silk, it's everything. So let's get started, because it is a lot. So I made the book. I covered it in fabric of these gorgeous sort of magnolia flowers, and it comes with it comes with two dangles with some beads and some gems, and actually also a chain, which is all caught up in here, but this chain does come down. And then you've got a second little dangle here, which is this gorgeous beading, crystal beading with a feather. So you can see that. And these are, of course, removable. So you can take these fun things off. Ooh, sorry. I am the worst camera person as well, so please, I beg your forgiveness. As you can see, it's open mouth. The closure is a chain, like a chain that you would find that separates a private garden, a secret private garden. Okay, let's get started. So each signature begins with a painting, and so this came out of a book of paintings, usually a famous painting. This one is by Ratkiff Skelton, A Summer Afternoon. It's all journaling space. And I've left so that you can see, who the painting is in case you want to look up more. This is the first journaling card. And this paper I use in all my journals till it runs out. This is paper I bought in the 1990s, so it's vintage in Paris. It is schoolgirl or schoolboy paper. Never used it, but it is now going to be used in your journal. This is tea-dyed paper, Audubon. All this is space to journal on. And the first of many. This is tea-dyed paper of many pieces of journaling paper. These are journaling cards. More from the Audubon Society. I think I'm going to try to make this a little smaller, so there, you can see more. And aren't these great? These are lots of little carrots for you to journal on. And more carrots. And here are some of your mini notebooks. These have an antique finish to them. You just pop them out and you open them, and you have a little journal here. And these you can just put in your pocket and take with you, and when you're done, slide them back into your bigger journal. or you may have a fun friend that decides, if you're using this as a guest book, to write their little homage to you or their wishes for you in here. I think this kind of journal actually works for that kind of thing. It's a great guest book. It's a great way for your guests to express their individuality as they leave you a memory. Now, you're going to see I have repurposed these plates. I'm going to actually make this a little bigger now. I've repurposed these plates out of this gorgeous book of vintage flowers and gardens. And so you're going to see them throughout. Salvaged it actually because the book was going to get trashed, so I bought it and have been using them. Of course, these are charms, and these are little ways for you to interact with this journal, writing. This is watercolor. I put a lot of original art in here. So this is all hand watercolored by yours truly to reflect the colors of a garden, water, grass. 3 journaling pages. This is treated crackly brown paper. This is the first of your pockets and mini journals. This is tea-dyed paper, which I adore, and there are lots of little things for you to look at and use and journal with, including these darling little appropriately purpley themed pieces of journal paper. Of course, you can stick anything you want in this pocket. We're using it right now for our mini journal. And here's more of that from that wonderful book, that vintage book. And you can journal on these, but there's also wonderful information there. This is from a vintage zodiac book, which I thought was hilarious, astrology book. It's about planting and harvesting. So according to the zodiac, there's some information and also a page for you to journal on. Tea-dyed paper. Trim. And every now and then, there's a teeny little surprise waiting for you. All journaling paper. As you can see, this really does work very well as sort of like a guest book for a special occasion. Or maybe you just have this at home and you want your friends, when they come to visit you, to leave a memory or share something with you. Or maybe you want to journal in it. Or maybe this is just a piece of folk art that you keep on your desk and look at to make yourself happy. All of those things would make me super happy. More vintage paper from Paris. Cloth pocket. There's a lot. This is huge, and there is a lot in this book to discover. Second pocket. You can also journal on these pockets. Sometimes I want to not show everything so that you can discover some of this for yourself, but hand watercolored, vellum. This also demands that you use different types of writing medium. Look at this gorgeous lattice work with multiple little journaling cards in here and a handmade envelope with hand watercolored papers to journal on. With little gems stuck to the tiny little journaling cards that pop into that pocket. just adore this. Everywhere there's space is meant to be written on. This is vintage fabric, and it's stunning. I'm glad I was able to find a use for it. Here's another mini little notebook that you can stick in your pocket, take with you. I'm gonna see if I can make this a little bit bigger. I think I said forgive me already for my horrible camera skills. But there's so much to show here, and I've already tried to do this multiple times, and I think I'm gonna pass out. I wanna make sure that I get everything in here for you. Ooh. These are all sort of things you might find in a garden. Magical garden, maybe, but it could be an ordinary garden too. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make this. These are Audubon, pages from Audubon. Embellished tea-dyed paper. And these are these famous paintings, and I've left the provenance of the paintings. Again, here is that gorgeous, this is from that book, that gardening book. So this is a big journaling card, oversized, with wonderful little gem and trinket. And this is a bookmark actually, but I'm using it as kind of a giant paper clip right now. So this goes on one side here, this giant journaling card, and on the other side is all of these little journaling. This is another piece of history from the book. I'm not sure if I can get this open. Anyway, let me just stick that in there. And this bookmark fits neatly right over the corner. Hurrah! Holds that in place. So when you're finished journaling, you can actually reuse the bookmark. Audubon, more of that tea-dyed paper. This journaling card, this is all William Morris prints, handmade. So shredded, each piece was shredded and fastened. And these wondrous little journaling cards have little pieces of fabric that are antique saris or from dresses, or maybe a little piece of velvet. Every garden has to have a bird. More stuck in here, more of this watercolor paper. It's so stunning, it's so pretty, and so much fun to write on. And you know that it was made, handmade, with love. How do I know that? Because I made it. It's lovely lattice work. And I just love this embellishment that's raised, and you can put your finger on it. This should open up. Because what would a garden be without butterflies? This is a pocket, and within this pocket are dragonflies. Dragonflies for you to discover. Another little mini journal. So you see, if you treat this interactive folk art journal as something that you actually want to journal and keep your thoughts in, there's so much that you can actually stick in your pocket, you know, and just take with you. That there's plenty in here. There's so many mini journals, so many journaling cards, things that you can pack and take with you, because this is certainly not something that I would call, you know, you're not going to travel with this. You're not going to stick it in your back pocket and take it with you. And it's not meant to be that way. It is a large piece of art, an unwieldy large piece of art that you are supposed to interact with. Let's see, lace pocket, the way that you interact with life, right? There's that wonderful saying that man steps out of a river, and the man that steps out of the river isn't the same man that went in, and neither is the river. That's how you should be interacting with this journal, in a real, authentic way. Sometimes you're not going to be having great days when you journal, and sometimes you are. And it's going to be hard to journal sometimes, and sometimes it's going to be easy. And I love this. This is an accordion. Journaling card, and this with the gorgeous trim and the little gem, the star. I hope that when you look at these different things, they make you as happy as they made me. I collect journals, so I buy from a lot of different creators, and I buy lots of different things because I like to interact with them. Some I just want to keep and look at forever. And I kind of wanted to combine all those things. It's that gorgeous gardening book. It's a gardening and shrub and flower book. It's an old one. And so the information is going to be top notch if you decide to read the information about the garden. It's watercolor. Ah, this is lovely. I have included a few pages from these pamphlets that Zookeepers, it's a Zookeepers magazine. And so I had some of those vintage ones from over 20 years ago. Garden Flowers in Color. I think that might even be the name of the book. Look at that. Look at how gorgeous that is. To use as a journaling page, repurposed, or you can frame it or do whatever you want. That's a greenhouse, because this is another pocket. Oh, and here's more from that zoology magazine. And you can look at them, read them. They're fun. They're vintage too, or journal on them. It's from Audubon. Cloth pocket with lace. This is a handmade envelope. I love this paper. I will never get tired of this tea dye paper. I think it is so elegant and so just stunning. With cloth pockets. Ah, another mini journal. Tea dyed paper. This one is a fairy that you might find in the garden. And you can tighten these up, take them off, or do whatever. And here we have a journaling card with a little piece of antique sari as a tab. And another one here with a neon orange ribbon as a tab. And this journaling card has a wonderful little charm and bead totem. This is so big, and there is so much to do. Now, here is a garden. These are all little pullable things. So there are lots of little things for you to discover, and they're all for you to journal on. These are things you might find in a garden. if you had a green thumb, which many of you may. I certainly do not. I try growing some herbs right now. Stunning trim, tea-dyed paper, Parisian vintage paper, Audubon. It's a wonderful textured pocket. You can see there is a lot going on. Ah, I love this. Look at this. Look at how stunning. That is a little piece of journaling card. That is a lace-trimmed journaling card. Here's another one. Just more famous paintings. It says that I've left so that you can see that this was Child Hassan. Another piece of tea-dyed paper, and I'm wishing you some joy. Goes in this antiqued envelope. It's not actually antiqued. It was tea-dyed. Stunning. Fabric tasseled journaling cards. These are all little papers for you to journal on. Take them out and take a look. You can use them to decorate various sections of your journal. And this is one of my favorite little pieces of lattice work. Everywhere where there's space, everything journalable. You can use all of this space to write, to tuck in memories, watercolor, hand watercolored, vellum, to use glitter pens or Sharpies or whatever you would like. I love tea-dyed paper. It's literally one of my favorite things in the world. A little leaf paperclip and a little owl charm. Ooh, and a little cilantro, which is an acquired taste. I hated it when I was a child, and now I use it in everything. There's lots of little things for you to discover in here. I'm going to leave that for you to discover in this little brown paper envelope, reminiscent of the school bag lunches you might take into the garden. And here are some more rustic flower places for you to journal. And there's so many ways for you to use and interact with all of these. It's a vellum pocket for you to stick your own memorabilia or things in. There are pockets throughout. The Audubon Society. The Zoo. Vintage. Also vintage. I mean, the information on these vintage pages is actually really extraordinary. This slipped out, but let's talk about the things that happen in a garden in the night. Bats, the planets, a little sticker, and journaling card. This is more a traditional herb garden. With some clouds. Those are pockets. Actually, you can stick things in there. Some of these photographs are so pretty from this gardening book that you may want to actually just frame them. I know that I'm doing that. with some of the ones that I saved that I want to keep for myself, or add to, as I mentioned, I buy journals from other people, and sometimes I like to decorate them a little further than what they've come as. This is tea-dyed paper. That's actually a lovely plant in real life. And these are journaling leaves, the color of fall that you might find in your garden. And journaling pages that represent a night garden. A little moon there. Two William Morris type papers with a journaling card that has a little bit of sari silk. Beautiful gold border. It's probably real gold. Maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but a lot of those borders actually use real gold woven in them. I mean, just these are photographs, they're extraordinary. Photographs and drawings, I think. Actually, I think they're all photographs, believe it or not. In fact, I kind of know they are. But some of them are so pretty. This is from that antique gardening book that it's really hard to sort of tell. Little waterfall journaling card. And you have some lovely pieces. You can see that if you use this as a type of guest book, that people are going to basically find their space, the way that they express themselves to you, and leave their mark there. And that's actually kind of fun if you want to keep something like this as a keepsake. And frankly, this is not a normal journal. This is an unusual way to jot down your thoughts. So it's also a great way because it is meant as artwork and for you to keep, and it is folk art. Maybe having people interact with it that means something to you, so that you can keep it and refer back to it, is the way that you would like to use this. I've certainly had people use these for birthday parties, baby showers. I made one for a lady that just wanted it as a guest book at her front. And if somebody wanted to sign and leave a memory, she was happy and it was all filled up, then she would have this piece of art. She had a living piece of art at her front door, and she was saying that when it was all filled up, it would still be a living piece of art because she was going to look at it and remember. And there's another little pocket with a couple of fun things. And that's it. So thank you for joining me for this walkthrough of In Bloom. The journal is for sale in the links below, Etsy and eBay. And please feel free to reach out with any questions. And I hope to see you soon.